This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now, I am so excited for today's show because I will be talking to Jaime Fox. No, not the Jaime Fox who played Ray Charles or the ugliest woman in the world on In Living Color. I am going to be talking to the most beautiful Jaime Fox, and I'm talking about Jaime Fox, who is the life partner of comedy legend Kevin Pollak. And she is a huge nerd when it comes to pop culture. I used to watch her on Kevin Pollak's chat show, and she had that laptop with the Apple logo and the Snow White decal on it, and I was like, okay, someday I want to meet her. I think we would get along. And thanks to the magic of Instagram, I'm going to have her on today. We are going to nerd out on Disney and The Simpsons and whatever else we can think of. And I am so friggin' excited. This has been a long time coming. I started watching Chat Show after I got out of the hospital from my car crash in 2015. So this is just going to be a big, big thrill for me. Yet another gift that God is passing along to me. And I just feel so blessed about it. I mean, beyond blessed. Also, O.J. Simpson has passed. I'm not going to say rest in peace nor rest in hell because, even though it's obvious, reading between the lines, I don't want to pass any aspersions on anybody today. All I can say is that OJ is gone, for better or for worse. I have mixed feelings over the fact that he played Nordberg in the Naked Gun movies, which I'll always friggin' love. But, at least the insanity of OJ still living is gone, and that's all I can say about that. So yeah, here is my interview with Jaime Fox. Hey, Jaime, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Yes, sorry, you can cut out all that rambling. I'm great. How are you?
I am fantastic. I can't tell you what a great honor this is. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Oh, yes, I'm so busy. I'm so busy going to AMC or Disneyland.
Yeah.
Those are the only two things I do.
Oh, yes, we'll get into all of that. So, going back in time, let's start with your background. You're born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania?
Yes, that's true. Ambridge, specifically, which if you saw, there was a recent Tom Hanks movie, is it Man Called Otto?
Yes.
Was filmed in my hometown. Like, I had no idea, and then I was watching it, and there's a scene where he's teaching his neighbor how to drive.
Yeah.
And it's on Merchant Street in Ambridge, and I look up and I was like, wait a minute. That's where the hot dog shop used to be. And then that's where, and I was like, this is Merchant Street. It was on, the main drag in my hometown. Yeah, I don't know. That was kind of cool.
Yeah. So I've got to ask, are you a George A. Romero fan?
Yeah, I love Romero and Savini as well.
Yes. I if you saw my room right now, you would think I was from Pittsburgh because I have all the Romero movie posters signed by Tom Savini.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Creepshow is one of my favorite horror. I mean, it's not really a horror. I mean, it's silly, but Creepshow is one of my favorites. I love Creepshow.
Me too. That's where it began for me. It began with Creepshow.
Totally, because it was whimsical enough. It wasn't really scary. It was just scary enough where I could still enjoy it as a child.
Oh yeah, black comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that and Night of the Living Dead, and I love Dawn of the Dead. That's my favorite of all the Romero zombie movies. And I've come around with Day. I mean, it's a very wordy kind of pissed off, angry kind of a zombie movie, but I love it still.
Yeah, Monroeville Mall. I went I always tease Kevin that I saw Indian Summer at the movie theater that was adjacent to Monroeville Mall.
Yeah. I used to go to Musterpalooza every year in L.A., and I'd meet Tom Savini and get posters signed and everything. But yeah, I mean, they do the Living Dead weekend in Pittsburgh. First, they do it in June at the Monroeville Mall, and then they do it in October where the Cemetery and Night of the Living Dead is. And I hope to go someday. I mean, it's pricey, and it's a long trip, from California to PA, so maybe someday I'll go.
Yeah, there's no direct flights from LA to Pittsburgh, which is ridiculous. And then people don't understand. Like, they're like, why don't you come home? Why don't you come home? And I'm like, it takes me like 2 days to travel there.
Yeah.
Like, round trip. But it's a lot. But if you ever do end up going, hit me up, because I'll recommend you all my favorite, like, garbage food joints that you must hit up.
Absolutely. I've heard you say before that there's a hot dog place there you love.
Yes, I do. Hot dog shop. It's like a regional chain. There's maybe like a dozen locations, if that, but like it's really just, it's like, obviously they sell hot dogs, but it's like they grill them, so like the casing's like super crispy, and they have that snap when you bite into them, and the buns are steamed, so they're soft.
Yeah. And
the fries are like fresh cut, but shoestring fries, and fresh cut and greasy and delicious. Oh, it's so good. Such a great greasy spoon. And last time I was there, I was like, I rarely get to indulge in this because I'm rarely home. So I was like so enthusiastic whenever I went into the Cranberry, Pennsylvania location, which is like a full service location where you actually have a server, which is rare. They're not all like that. Most of them are like counter service.
Yeah.
I'm going to be talking way too much about the hot dog shop, but I was so enthusiastic whenever I went in there that the manager was to my sister was like, she's got a great attitude. Look at her. We love her. And I was.
Yeah. Are Philly cheesesteaks like way better and different in PA than they are in California?
I don't know. I'm from Western Pennsylvania. I don't know. That's the other side of the state. I don't know.
Oh, but
I think I've been to Philadelphia. That's I like briefly once. Like I never had one. I don't know. That's a whole other. We're famous for the Permane Brothers sandwich. That's our sandwich.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's the other thing. It's very common. Like I tell people I'm from Pittsburgh, and they're like, "Oh, cheesesteaks," and I'm like, "No. That's the other, like, that's practically, like, practically like another country. Like, that's the complete opposite side of the state."
Yeah. So let's talk about Disney. Like, did you love all things Disney from, like, the get-go?
So we grew up, like, going to, again, from Pittsburgh, like, we had, our family vacation, like, we would go to Fort Lauderdale every year, and then and then we would tack on, like, a Disney World visit. So that was, like, my first intro to it, and I was 18 months old, I think, when I first went. So, yes, there's definitely, like, the attachment to, like, the theme parks, but, yeah, I love cartoons in general. Like, I love Looney Tunes, and obviously, like, my first love is The Simpsons, like, first and foremost, over anything. So it's like, and I like today I watch Bob's Burgers, and it's like, and I growing up it was like Animaniacs and Tiny Toons and Ren and Stimpy, and I love animation in general. So yeah, of course I watched a lot of cartoons, and you'll have like the clamshell VHSs, that's what you watch. So I remember I had like, Sleepy Hollow and Mr. Toad. I had Winnie the Pooh. I had, like those. I feel like those were two I remember like watching over and over. But yeah, no, definitely in Disney. I grew up like with 80s Disney Channel when it was like a paid channel.
I have a video store in my bedroom of clamshells. I got all the Warner Brothers stuff. I only have one Disney so far. I need to get on my Disney collection. I have the Shaggy Dog on clamshell.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like whatever I had, like on, whatever you had on VHS or whatever you recorded off TV, in the 80s, that's what you watched. Like, that's why I have such a connection to the Garfield Halloween special. It's like something I had recorded off. Or what is it? Garfield's Halloween Adventure, I believe, is the actual title. But yeah, I have like because it's like I watched that VHS constantly. That was recorded off the TV.
Yeah,
that's what we did.
Yeah, starting at the age of 3, I was watching the ABC Disney Sunday Movie. Do you remember those?
No, not quite. No.
Okay, so around 86, 87, ABC brought back the Wonderful World of Disney, and they call it the ABC Sunday Disney Movie, and they would show Mary Poppins or Peter Pan and the classics. Then they would show their own TV movies that they had just made. Like there was one called The Brat Patrol with Sean Astin, one called Ask Max with Chunk from the Goonies.
Wow.
There was one where Will Wheaton plays young Harry Houdini. I had all of those when I was a kid. We taped all of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were pretty
Yeah, I'm not
cool.
familiar with those at all, but they sound awesome.
Yeah, they were. They're all on YouTube, too.
As everything is.
Yeah. I know.
I'm always watching defunct attractions on YouTube, like especially Captain EO. I'm always watching.
Yeah.
I miss Captain EO so much, and it'll probably never come back for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And I just that's one I was a little scared of it, the attraction, and then my mother is such a Michael Jackson fan that she would force me to watch it, and I kind of have this. I was afraid of it at the time, but now I have such love for it.
Yeah, I saw Captain EO in 1990, the first time I went to Disneyland, and I didn't see it again until just a few years ago. And I was like, wow, it's like I never left it. I remember every single thing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
Yeah, then I just it ends with another part of me as you're exiting the theater, and you're just you just leave with such good energy. I loved it. But also you keep mentioning Disneyland. I'm actually a recent Disneyland convert. I grew up going to Disney World. I did the Disney World college program in fall of 2001. And my first visit to Disneyland wasn't until 2005 for their 50th anniversary. But then, I moved from Pittsburgh to Los Angeles in 2007, and now I have completely converted. I am team Disneyland now, especially team Disneyland over Magic Kingdom for sure. But Epcot's probably still my favorite park. But I'm also thinking of my 80s Epcot. I'm nostalgic for 80s Epcot. I don't know what I think Epcot's trying to come back to that a little bit, but I don't know. But yeah.
We went to Disneyland twice when I was a kid, and we made plans to go to Disney World when I was 10, but it never came to pass. So I couldn't tell you what old Epcot looked like and what the new one looked like. But the first time we went, I was 6, and this was February of 90. And my dad had to stay behind and work, so it was me, my mom, my brother, and his best friend. And it was just so bedazzling. It was like I had never seen anything like this. It was not like any county fair I had ever been to or Great America or anything. It was so fantastic. And I remember I took pictures with Mickey and some of the Seven Dwarfs, and then I cried because we couldn't find Pinocchio, because Pinocchio was my guy, and he still is.
Yeah, Pinocchio was which is you look back at it now as an adult, it's so dark. But I remember Pinocchio was one that I grew up with, especially because my mother loves Jiminy Cricket. Yeah. So, and there's a fox. If there's a fox in anything, of course.
Yeah.
That's why Robin Hood's my favorite Disney movie.
Wow, I haven't seen that one in years. I gotta go back and watch that one.
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I loved, oh my God, the Pirates of the Caribbean ride and Splash Mountain, which is no longer there, I heard. Oh my God, they were all fantastic rides.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Pirates is still every time I go on it, even to this day, I was it never ceases to astonish me. The animatronics, the animatronics are remarkable, and it's when you your boat comes into that first battle scene and you look up at the ceiling and it's just got you can't tell that it's a ceiling. It looks like sky. It's it's remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, God, the animation for a lot of those old ones hold up. Sleeping Beauty holds up. Whenever I watch that, oh my God, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, and it's I miss hand-drawn animation. It's not really done anymore today.
Yeah, I talked to Phil Roman, who was one of the animators on Sleeping Beauty, and he did Charlie Brown Christmas specials and the Cat in the Hat special, and he told me something that kind of brought a tear to my eye. He said, There's nothing like the magic of paint and brush. He was very critical of today's CGI and digital animation. He told me.
Yeah, or just like CGI in general. Like you can, like Jurassic Park 1993 looks a million times better than Jurassic World. Like
Yes.
it looks better. It looks like also it's just a way better movie. But it just but the special effects look better.
Absolutely.
And Soarin'. So there's like Soarin' over California and then Soarin' over the world.
Mhm.
Soarin' over the world is just computer generated trash, and it's compared to like Soarin'. Like I would much rather do Soarin' over California, which is practical film, and like have like the film look a little grainy than do like CGI'd Soarin' over the world, which is nice because we get it we'll get it seasonally every year for our Food and Wine Festival at California Adventure. So we do get that treat.
Nice.
Every year.
Yeah, what's your favorite animated Disney movie?
Robin Hood.
Okay, Robin Hood. Yeah, for me, it's
Jungle Book.
Yeah, the Jungle Book is great. For me,
Which have the same I was just gonna say they have the same animation style, and the music in Jungle Book is amazing. Sherman Brothers, and I Want to Be Like You is my favorite Disney song because my grandmother loved Louis Prima and listened to him a lot, so I have like that connection. Like Louis Prima was very influential on that song, and it was just him and his band like goofing around, to write that song, and I love it. But yes, yours, please. I interrupted you.
Oh, it's okay. Pinocchio and Dumbo. Those are a tie for me. I love both of those equally.
Yeah, both again, they're very dark if you go back and watch them.
They are. I know. I mean, look. The leader of the crows is named Jim in Dumbo. I mean, that's so inappropriate.
Oh, I just meant like the whole like the pink elephants on parade and the Pleasure Island, and they're being turned into donkeys. I was even more like talking into like it's just it's like it's scary for children.
It is, yeah. I've always been attracted to the dark side. I mean,
same. I love Ichabod. Like I love Legend of Sleepy Hollow was one of my favorites. Haunted Mansion was always my favorite attraction. Like I always loved like Creep Show at a young age. Like I always loved spooky stuff. Halloween's always been my favorite holiday. Yeah.
How about Return to Oz?
Did not watch that one.
It's scary, and it holds up as scary. It terrified me as a kid, and it still does.
Yeah, things that terrified me as a kid was like Large Marge from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, of course.
The clowns.
Judge Doom. Yeah, the clowns from Pee-wee's Big Adventure too. Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit, of course. I love
Judge Doom
Roger
didn't scare
Rabbit.
me for some reason. Probably because I knew it was Christopher Lloyd.
I don't know. That got me. But I love to the point like I had a crush on Roger Rabbit. When that movie came out.
Oh, I remember when I went to Disneyland the first time, they had this, talking Roger Rabbit out there, saying, "Welcome, everybody," and at that point, the movie was, almost a year and a half old, and he was already a Disney legend by that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How about favorite Disney animation short?
Oh, that's a good one. I love Humphrey the Bear, and he was only in 9 shorts. He was mostly paired up with Donald, or they gave him Ranger Woodburn was also his partner. So I would I don't know. Can I answer that? Like, is that like any? Like, I love Humphrey the Bear, and he was in so few.
Yeah.
So I feel like anything with Humphrey, maybe In the Bag would probably be my, whenever he's picking up the trash and they sing the little song, like they sing the song, cutting papers, putting papers in the bag, and Ranger Woodburn like tricks them into cleaning up all the trash in the park. So yeah, anything with Humphrey the Bear.
Mine is Donald Snow Fight. That was probably the first one.
Yes.
First one I ever saw.
And that was with like when they would show with Mickey's Christmas Carol, right?
Yes.
Was that one of the shorts that they? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because they showed like that. I remember that how to ski and Pluto's Christmas tree. Those were the ones that right, that they showed with Mickey's Christmas Carol. That sounds right.
Yes, I saw. I remember seeing Mickey's Christmas Carol and seeing that for the first time. We had it on tape, and just the part where Donald skis down that slope, hits the pine tree, and the shrapnel goes in his arm, and it makes that buzzing noise. That boo! It makes me laugh every time I see it.
And that's the one where Donald has that giant like fur coat, right?
Yeah,
it's like bell shape. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a classic. What do you think now that Steamboat Willie, Mickey, and Winnie the Pooh are in the public domain, and pretty much anybody can do anything they want with them?
Well, it's fun because it's like I like that. Like I watched Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and it's like I like what he's like. He's just being silly with it. Like, and I because they had like a Steamboat Willie mascot come out, and they're like, what are they going to do, sue us? Like that was their whole ad campaign for the current season. So like I feel like it's cool if you're gonna be silly with it, but it's like I'm one of those like, but then there's the other side of the spectrum, which is like they have like the Winnie the Pooh like Blood and Honey, and I heard like they're making like a Bambi horror movie now.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know, like it's like I don't want to see like I don't need that. I don't want to see that, even if it's done like tongue in cheek. I don't know. I feel like as long as you keep it like in good, like you're keeping it whimsical and like good hearted, like I don't mind it. But it's like I don't know. I don't want to see like my childhood like
yeah, I know.
Shat on.
I feel the same way. I feel the exact same way. I don't understand it. But yeah, it's weird that they fell into the public domain. But then again, with all the craziness going on with the Disney company these days, I'm not too surprised.
Right. And Winnie the Pooh also isn't even, like that's an acquired property.
Yeah.
Like I think like Disney really only owns the Winnie the Pooh like in the red t-shirt. Like that's the Disney version. Yeah.
Yeah. Favorite live-action Disney movie?
Favorite live-action Disney movie? Oh, I guess it would be probably Peach Dragon. Does that count?
Absolutely, that's mine.
I mean, but I guess, no. I was going to say, no, but then I guess it'd have to be Roger Rabbit. What am I talking about? I mean, that's live action. Does Roger Rabbit count?
Of course.
Roger Rabbit's one of my favorite movies of all time, like, period. But Roger Rabbit then. Because I don't know. I don't know why I thought of that more of an animated movie, but it's not. It's a noir detective movie with like some animation. Yeah, Roger Rabbit totally holds up. I rewatched it within the past like 6 months. It's and you could I was 7 I think when the movie came out, and it's obviously like not getting things like patty cake and stuff like that and booby trap, but like you could appreciate it like on a different level as an adult, and it again looks better than most things today.
I went to a Comic-Con in 2018. I met Charles Fleischer and Joanna Cassidy, and I remember, God, Joanna Cassidy is just the sweetest lady. Tough as nails, but a sweet lady. And I remember I kissed her hand, and then she looked at my mom and said, "You raised him right."
Aw, that's sweet.
Yeah. I mean, Pete's Dragon is my favorite. I had the soundtrack on vinyl. My parents had got it from my brother when he was a kid. He's 9 years older than me. And so I got it, but it was all scratched up by the time I got to it. Like, there was a part in the soundtrack where they play the part in the movie where Nora tells Pete that Paul is never coming back, and I just kept hearing it over and over again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's never coming back. He's never coming back.
That won't stunt you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also love Tron.
Yeah, Tron was one I think I saw like in late. Like I had this one clamshell that was like clips of like a bunch of Disney stuff, and I remember like I don't know what it was exactly, but it was like but it was clips of like any Disney, like from like shorts to full length animation to live action, and it was just clips of it. And I remember like that was kind of like my only thing I remember of Tron is like seeing that clips of it like on that one, whatever that was. I don't know what that was. It was just like literally, it was just like clips of Disney properties, and I watched it all the time. And that was kind of like the only, like, I watched Tron like in later years.
Yeah, I interviewed the woman who wrote the original screenplay. She only gets a story credit in the movie, Bonnie McBird. She was a script supervisor at Universal, and she wrote this movie. I guess she saw how cheesy the sci-fi content at Universal was. She thought she could do a better job, and she did, obviously. But she ended up taking it to Disney. They gave it to Steve Lisberger. He changed the whole script, and all she got was a story credit. And I was the first person she talked publicly about this with in 40 years, and I felt so touched by it. Yeah. Yeah, because we had a mutual friend that had been on the podcast and stuff, so she felt very comfortable telling me about it, and I was just so touched by that. Did you have the little golden Disney books growing up?
No, again, I feel like I'm being made more aware of them as an adult, because it's like that's where I discovered like Patrick Begora, Little Man of Disneyland, and stuff like that. I more so had growing up. I loved Babar.
Oh yeah.
I loved. I had Richard Scarry books. I loved the illustrations in Richard Scarry books. There's a series called Gus Was a Friendly Ghost.
Yeah.
Which was a series from like I think like the late '60s that I loved. I liked Frog and Toad Are Friends. Like these are the children's books. Yeah.
I remember Frog and Toad. Yeah.
Yeah. See, like it's like I think people understand that. Like I love like all pop culture. I think people, because I go to visit Disneyland often, and it's like my Instagram page is curated mostly towards Disney because that's what people seem to be drawn to. So that's what I give them. But I love all pop culture. Like, and it wasn't like all Disney all the time for me. Like Sweet Pickles were another book series that I remember too. Do you remember the Sweet Pickle books? It came in like a little bus.
Oh yes, like yes, I remember that commercial when I was a kid. I never had them, but I remember it. Yeah.
And they were like, A, they like each character was like a different letter of the alphabet. It was like A is for Aardvark, and it was about like the Aardvark character. And Berenstain Bears. I was obsessed with the Berenstain Bears to the point where like they had like a Berenstain Bear village in I think Cedar Point, which is in Ohio, which is very close to Pittsburgh, because we're so far west. We're like basically in Ohio. And yeah, I had to go to like my I remember like my mom and dad taking me to go visit like the Berenstain Bears like at Cedar Point, and it was a must do for me. Yes.
Do you remember Miss Nelson's class?
No, I don't. I don't know that one.
It was about a teacher who was very kind and caring to her students, and yet she felt like they took her for granted. So she would say, "I'm going on vacation," and she would come back as incognito as a mean, nasty teacher, and then she would reveal herself at the end to teach them a lesson.
Oh no! I feel like I was again like another reason why I love like. I love like I need a personified like animal or something. Yeah. Like I feel like if there was like humans involved, I wasn't as into it. Hence why I love Richard Scarry, as I mentioned. Like I need like a personified animal.
So I grew up not liking our generation's Mickey Mouse Club. I'm a purist of the original with Annette Funicello. What do you think of the incarnations of the Mickey Mouse Club?
Again, I felt like I'm not terribly familiar with it because again it's people like I'm telling you like I know it's so silly like because it was live action and it was humans like I feel like again like I was drawn more to like when animals are talking and stuff like that, so I don't like really have like much like memory of watching it.
I'm proud to say I've had 2 Mouseketeers on the show, and I cherish that. How about, do you remember when the aerobics craze happened, they did the Mousercise album?
Mousercise? Yes, I do remember Mousercise, because that was, I feel like, one thing that was, I remember from the Disney Channel of my day. For sure.
Yeah, I just interviewed the woman who wrote the theme song, Beverly Bremer. She had a hit in the early 70s called Don't Say You Don't Remember. And she says that the most money she makes in residuals is from Mouser Size because it's still going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's still.
I think it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it had a little bit of a resurgence too because if you there's a fairly new attraction at Disneyland called Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad, and the queue for it, you go through like basically like Mickey's IMDb, if you will, and it shows you like all the props and costumes from his appearances.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole Mouser Size section.
Yeah.
Like in the queue.
That was a staple of my elementary school PE class when I was like in first grade, and I love it.
Well, that's great. That's great that they did it in like as your physical education. That's awesome.
I think that's why Disney made the album in the first place. They wanted to get kids to exercise.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a cash cow too because the aerobics craze, but they also wanted to get kids to exercise. So it's a good thing. So, getting into The Simpsons, do you remember the first Simpsons episode you ever saw?
The first day, I was there day one. I watched it day one. Simpsons roasting over an open fire, which I think was December 17th?
17th, 1989, yeah.
Yeah, day one. I was in.
Okay, so like I was aware of them from the moment the merchandise started. I didn't see the Tracy Ullman show until much later when Comedy Central came around. But
I think I went back I watched Tracy Ullman show once I got into The Simpsons, and I went back and it was like, because I just wanted, because if you remember, like season 1, I think only has like, it was only half of it was a mid-season replacement.
About 8 episodes, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, I was like, I need more. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was 7 in the summer of 1990 when the first season reruns began, and the first I remember seeing was Life in the Fast Lane, where Marge almost has an affair with the French bowler, Jacques. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's voiced by Albert Brooks.
Oh, that's right, it was Albert Brooks. Yeah, and then from then on, I was hooked for the next 16 years of that show. I kind of checked out in the mid-2000s. I just didn't think the show had its punch anymore, but I still love the classics. I mean, all of them I love from the first decade.
Yeah, I still watch every week. I've seen every episode at least once. I think I fell off a little bit in the early 2000s just because of where I was in my life. Like I was like in college and working and like didn't really have, this was before like, you could DVR stuff, and it's just like I fell off a little bit just because I was never home, or near a TV to watch it at the time.
Yeah.
But I've gone back and watched all those, and I highly recommend that you they're not every episode is great. Yeah. Obviously, but they're and they're doing like a lot of callbacks now to like classic episodes and recent ones and. There's a whole, there was a whole episode, I think in the past couple of years where it's like Skinner and Chalmers like go on a road trip together. And it's basically like, and it's almost like a continuation from like the Steamed Hams from 22 short films about Springfield. Like it's, which I mean, I know a lot, I recommend like, at least go back, like watch the Treehouse of Horrors. Like they did a Thanksgiving of horror in recent years where they did an awesome Black Mirror parody. I mean it's like I still watch every week, and do they all knock them out of the park? No, but there's great moments in every episode, and I'm you'll never stop The Simpsons. I do hope though that I feel like once a main cast member passes away, I just pray to God they end it. Like, I don't want them to, like, AI their voice or get a replacement. Or I just, like, that's when I'm going to be out. I don't think I could do it. Like, I feel like once a main cast member passes, it's like, you got to stop. You're done.
I totally get it. Yes, I agree. The last episode I saw that I truly liked was just about 5 short years ago when Krusty was on WTF with Mark Maron. I thought that episode was brilliant.
It was about and they had like all these other podcasters on it too, right?
Yeah.
I remember, yeah. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Like it's like it has clever moments.
I loved it. Yeah, so there's so many episodes, but like which ones come to your mind as your favorites?
And my favorite is Springfield, but the S's with the dollar signs, like
Yes,
with the casino.
love it.
That's so. That is my favorite episode, and I think it's because everybody has a story. Like everybody has their own storyline. The main family has a story. Everybody in the main family
Yeah.
has a storyline, and as does Mr. Burns, who is our main villain, and is an excellent. Mr. Burns and Mo were my favorite characters. Mr. Burns is an excellent villain.
That was like my earliest reference for the name game when Krusty's all herpes, bull burpees, banana dana, bull burpees.
Yeah.
I love that episode.
But yeah, that's my favorite. But I mean, I could, listen, like King Size Homer is definitely up there for me.
Yeah, that's a funny episode. Mr. Plow is my number one favorite episode.
That's a great. Well, Linda Ronstadt and I were looking to do a work together, like Barney. Like Barney I'm quoting Barney Gumble.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Barney Gumble. It's like Barney Gumble, like is friends with Linda Ronstadt. They were like looking for a project together. Like I just,
It's hilarious. Yeah. If you give me an episode with Snow, Linda Ronstadt, and Adam West, I'm a happy guy. I just adore that episode. My favorite part is at the beginning when Homer's watching that celebrity, stunt thing, and he says, Marge, Alan Thicke is throwing knives at Ricardo Montalban, and you hear, ay, 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 and he's like, sorry, Ricardo. That's hilarious. I love Rosebud with Mr. Burns and the teddy bear. I love that one. Bobo. I love.
That's the one have the Rolling Stones killed.
Yeah, it's the Ramones.
It's the Ramones. Yeah.
That's the first time I ever saw them too.
I mean, that was my first intro to Simpsons. Was my first intro to Spinal Tap.
Really?
Oh yeah, like a lot of things too. Like it's funny. Like whatever like I never watched The Godfather in its entirety until maybe 14 years ago or something. Kevin took me to see it at the Cinerama Dome when it still existed, and I knew everything. And he was so mad because I knew everything from The Simpsons. Like I knew everything that was going to happen because The Simpsons had ruined it for me. I was like, oh, there's going to be like a horse head in this bed, or it's like, oh, this is where James Caan gets shot. It's like, how do you know all this? And I was like, Simpsons. They did it on The Simpsons. We went to see One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest at the Aero Theater maybe like 5 years ago or so. And I was like, oh, Chief's going to throw that water cooler out the window. He's like, he's like, fucking Simpsons! Like Simpsons, he's like, that's like the climax of the movie. And I was like, well, they did it on The Simpsons.
Remember the Auto Show episode?
Of course, yeah, that's where Spinal Tap is.
Oh, right. Because I remember, oh God, my favorite line. It still kills me. Otto comes home and the cops are raiding his apartment.
I had mustard?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I say that one all the time. Anytime I use mustard, I go, whoa, I had mustard.
I love that
I knew where you were going.
Yeah, you do it. Yeah. Oh, guess who's criticizing dinner?
Yeah, where Homer's a food. That's later. I feel. Like that might be like season 10 or 11.
I like that episode. Anybody who knows me and knows that episode knows why. My favorite part of the body is the belly button, and Homer's navel goes from an innie to an outie.
Yeah.
Because he ate too much. The one where Homer eats the psychedelic pepper and Johnny Cash is the coyote. I love that one.
Yeah, Homer's Odyssey. I think is the name. Is that no?
No. It's got a Spanish title. It's got like a Spanish title. It's like a Carlos Castaneda one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Flaming
Homer's
Moe's.
Odyssey is a season one episode. Yes, Flaming Moe's, because Moe's my favorite character. I just love how, I don't know, how he's he thinks he's so ugly and nobody loves him. He's always trying to do terrible. It's he's always unsuccessfully trying to commit suicide. I don't know. I love him as a character.
I do too. The Springfield Files. Like they're questioning him.
X-Files.
What did you do last?
I just recently got into X. Like I've never watched X Files, whatever, and I just started watching them. Like I'm like a couple months ago.
They ask him, what did you do earlier that night? And he says, I think he says, like, I was reading literature. And then they're like, Mr. Simpson, it's a felony to lie to the FBI. Okay, me and Mo were in his car eating packets of mustard. You happy?
You like mustard jokes.
I love mustard jokes. Yeah, because I love mustard. I love it because it tastes good to me, and my dad hates it.
There you go. Anything to torture your parents, right?
Of course. The Way We Were, that was like the beginning of me seeing 70s nostalgia, because my parents, they went to high school in the 70s, so like I used to look at their yearbooks. Back to the Future is my favorite movie of all time, because I always had that fantasy of going back in time and seeing my parents in high school, so I love The Way We Were.
If I had time travel capabilities, I would go back to the 1964 World's Fair. Not that you asked me, but that's my answer.
Yeah.
I would want to see the 1964 World's Fair. It just looked amazing.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Homer Palooza, love that one. I remember that one and Summer of 4'2". They aired the same night.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
They did a double header for the finale. I remember. Yeah.
Those are both great episodes. Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkins, Homer Simpson, nodding politely.
My kids love your dark and gloomy music. Well, we try to make a difference.
Did anyone order the London Philharmonic? Possibly while high. Looking at you, Cypress Hill.
The Homer They Fall, where he's boxing. Oh God, what's his name? He's supposed to be like Mike Tyson.
Dedrick Tatum.
Dedrick Tatum. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh God, that's a funny episode.
Yeah, and that Homer's walkout song is "Why Can't We Be Friends?" It's they do that a lot too. Like they pick like the perfect joke song for moments. Like when Marge goes away to Rancho Relaxo and Homer loses Maggie.
Yeah.
He calls like a missing child hotline, and they're like, "Please hold." And the song is "Baby Come Back."
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a Treehouse. It's the Treehouse of Horror, where it's the parody of Talking Tina, where the Krusty doll is trying to kill Homer, and they call.
Everybody loves a clown, so why don't you?
Exactly. They always pick the perfect song. Yeah.
I know. I wish they'd bring that back. That was always great. Oh my God! Do you like the Simpsons movie?
That's the one movie that I've seen the most time in theaters on its initial run, which was 4. Yeah, I saw it 4 times in theaters in its initial run. I've never seen anything more than that in a theater. Yeah,
the fact that they have Homer falling down slowly the hole, flipping everyone off, that had me all rolling.
You see naked Bart. You see a naked Bart.
Yeah, they had Flanders be kind of a pedo in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I kind of wish they would make more movies, and stop the series pretty much.
Again, I don't know. I always hear this argument, but you don't watch the series. Like I get into this argument quite a bit. Like I still watch the series and I'm enjoying it every week. So. Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to I disagree. Again, I feel like they should just stop the series once one of the main cast members passes. But people will say oh, it's not good anymore, and I'm like, well, when was the last time you watched an episode? And they're like, 2004, and I'm like, okay, well, you haven't watched 20 years worth of episodes. So how do you even know what you're missing?
It's only been a few years for me, but yeah. I mean, I totally get it. I just think that the show has gotten way too fan fiction-y,
Yeah, but I mean, it's like there's over 700 episodes. It's like they're doing the best they can.
Yeah.
And it's also too you look at the writers that they had in the initial season, you had Conan O'Brien. It's like he went on, it's like these people they're gonna leave and do other things. It's and even in the mid seasons, you had the Dana Goulds of the world writing for the series. It's they're gonna move on. They're gonna move on. I'm sure all the writers now are probably younger than us.
Well, I've
For
interviewed
sure.
Caroline O'Meany, and she's been there 25 years almost,
Yeah.
and she loves the job, even though she was kind of critical when we were talking about the direction the show has gone in, but she loves writing for them.
Yeah, which is great. That's all that matters. She loves her job.
Yeah. So do you go to
She's
Simpsons
putting out the
Land
best work she
often?
can. So it's funny. I just this year became a Universal pass member because my friend from college that I always go to, I go to Disney World with him. I meet up with him a couple years to go to Disney World, and he's just like a theme park enthusiast, overall, like he loves theme parks and like thrill rides and roller coasters and stuff. So he, when he was out here visiting, he wanted to go to Universal to check out Super Nintendo World, and my day ticket was like half the price of an annual pass. So I upgraded to an annual pass. And I've been going I've gone to Universal more in the past 6 months than I have in the, how long about 16 years that I've lived in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Because of it. But it's nice because it's like there's not too much to do in that park, so it's nice to, it's easy to go for like a couple hours and you're like, all right, I'm good, and then you can and to check out. It's also not as difficult to get into as
Disneyland
is, but what I mean is it's like Disneyland parking and the tram and secure. It's like that's a whole 40-minute ordeal in itself. It could be very daunting. It's like the Universal one. It's like you park, you go through security, and you're and you're like going through the turnstiles and in the park in less than 10 minutes. It's just nice to just be there.
I got to go in 2016, a year after my car crashed. My buddy and we went to LA for 8 days, and we decided to go to Simpsons Land because Disneyland was way too pricey, and we had a blast. Oh my God, we ate ice cream at Lard Lad. We had pink donuts. We went on a few roller coaster rides, and I actually retired from the roller coaster rides after this because I have heart issues, but I wanted to go one last time. And oh my God, I was like, Simpsons Land is so cool. Oh my God, this was awesome. I really love it.
Actually, the ice cream parlor is Phineas Q Butterfat.
I'm sorry, not Lard Lad. HB Butter. Oh, what was it? Yeah,
Sorry,
Butter.
Phineas Q Butterfat.
Phineas Q Butterfat. Okay, I'm so embarrassed. Yeah, Lard Lad's the donut. Sorry.
Yeah, Phineas Q Butterfat, and it's next to Luigi's, and then across the street you have Lard Lad, and Moe's and Krusty Burger and Cletus's Chicken Shack.
Right. Yeah, I got the two names mixed up.
I do like all the Simpsons theme food.
Yeah. Oh God, it was really, really good. I know you're also a big fan of the 1987 Dragnet movie.
So I'm an HBO kid.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever was on HBO growing up, that's what I watched. So it was like that was my favorite Halloween costume I ever did. Was my buddy Corey and I were Dan Aykroyd, and I was Tom Hanks from 87 Dragnet, undercover as pagans. I think all night, 3 people maybe understood what our costume was all night, but it was worth it. And I put in so much effort into those costumes. And I wish I was looking. That was we did that, I think, in 2013. We did those costumes, and I was looking for. I only have 2 photos of it, one of which is really grainy because our phone cameras were not that great back then.
Yeah, I saw you guys show it on the Tom Hanks interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, that was pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, when I was really little when the movie came out, I was 4. I didn't know what Dragnet was. I was just happy that Aykroyd and Hanks was in the movie because I loved those guys. And
I didn't know it. Yeah, and the whole Playboy, Dabney Coleman was Hugh Hefner, and it was all he did Bait magazine, which was a parody of Playboy. I had no idea.
I've interviewed 3 people from the movie. I interviewed Emil Muzz, Jack O'Halloran.
Lovely.
He's a great guy. Lisa London, who sings "Me, Me, Me, oh, say, can you see?" And Juliana Donald, who not only is the zookeeper in the movie, she's also Jenny in The Muppets Take Manhattan.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I love Muppets Take Manhattan was probably my favorite. My the Muppet movie I watched the most growing up, and I loved that. I loved the rat, like Rizzo and his family in the diner.
Yeah, they're doing their rat scat.
Yeah, love it. I love that scene as a kid. But yeah, as I said, like I was totally an HBO kid, and it's like it was, I've definitely seen Ghostbusters 2 way more than I've seen Ghostbusters, even though obviously like Ghostbusters is the better film, but I've like Ghostbusters 2 was always on. Temple of Doom was another one that was is it the best? No. But it's like it was always on.
I love Temple of Doom.
I mean, I like them all, but it's like, so again, like much darker and like different than the other ones. I think I just like Raiders is my favorite. I love Marion. I love Indy and Marion together. Yeah. So I think Raiders is my fave of that series. But like, Great Outdoors I watch constantly. Yep. Oh my God, the Police Academy series.
Yep.
The Police Academy, all of those. Seems Like Old Times with Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn.
My favorite.
Yeah. That was on all the time. Woman in Red,
yeah.
I love, with Gene Wilder, and Charles Grodin is so good in that. Charles Grodin's also in Seems Like Old Times.
Night of the Comet.
That was not one I remember. I did I'm familiar with. I didn't watch. I know what you're talking about, but I didn't watch that one a lot.
Yeah, they stopped playing it for a while after like 1987 for some reason, and then USA Up All Night played it, and then it went into like legal limbo, and then MGM bought it, and now of course it's on Blu-ray and DVD. But like it disappeared for a while. Mm-hmm.
I also I do not have any nostalgia for Hocus Pocus. I did not watch. I just didn't. I watched it for the first time 3 years ago, and I was like, oh, I get it. I didn't grow up watching this, so
I saw it in the theater.
I have no connection to it. Yeah, I have no right. So I have no connection to it, and that's fine. People absolutely have a nostalgic connection to it. Mine was because of HBO. The Worst Witch, starring Perusa Bulk.
Mildred Hubble.
Yes, it was basically like Hogwarts, but just for girls. And the headmaster was Tim Curry, and he sang that, and he sang that horrible song. Horribly wonderful song.
Anything can happen on Halloween.
Yeah, your dog could turn into a cat. Yeah,
I saw that. I saw that way before I saw the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So then when I saw the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I was like, yep, he was still a bad singer even then.
But yeah, that was my Hocus Pocus, was Worst Witch.
Yeah, I was a big Worst Witch kid. Yeah, I love Teen Witch, Teen Wolf.
Teen Witch, yes. All those. I just rewatched recently. What was another one I probably should not have been watching constantly? Was Just One of the Guys.
Oh, I've had about 10 people from the movie on here because I love it that much.
Yeah. I found it on Tubi. By the way, plug for Tubi is great. It's a streaming app. It's free, and it's every quote unquote bad movie from the 80s is on there, and bad horror, and horror movies, made for TV movies. I'm rewatching The Critic's on there. I've been rewatching The Critic on Tubi. Even a lot of early 2000s reality shows are on there. So Girls Next Door is on there, which I'm a fan of. But yeah, no compensation plug for Tubi. Love it.
Yeah. I mean, I do Netflix and Hulu and Amazon occasionally, but, I got a huge video store in my bedroom, so I just, stick to physical media.
I have a lot of friends that are still very into physical media. I have, my absolute musts on physical. I have, it's funny because I always joke every year. I watch so my other, honestly, my favorite TV shows of all time is The Simpsons, but second is The Twilight Zone, and I think the original Twilight Zone is the best consistently written series of all time.
Oh yeah.
I still every year will watch the marathon on Sci-Fi, even though the episodes are cut to shit. They're cut. I will whole scenes will be missing, and I will notice and I will get angry, but I will still want, like, I'm like, I own the Twilight Zone on DVD and Blu-ray, and yet I still like have to watch that marathon every year with commercials, and the episodes are cut to shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know why I have to watch the marathon, but actually I watched, like, yesterday I found myself with, like, 30 minutes to spare here and 30 minutes to spare there, and I threw on a couple Twilight Zones. I still, it's my app is right up there with The Simpsons for me. Love it.
Yeah.
And The Simpsons obviously, recognize greatness, and they parody it all the time in Treehouse of Horror. They parody Twilight Zone quite a bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at the age group of those writers. They were alive when it was on.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So how did you meet Kevin?
Oh, I was working at the Improv in Pittsburgh, the Improv Comedy Club, and he started touring, doing stand-up again. And so, we met there, like, it was like 2002, I think, when we met. So, that's when I first met him. But we didn't start dating until, like, years later. But that's when we first met.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I did stand up in San Francisco for 10 years, and I knew all the old guys that Kevin started with, and they all said, he was a great guy, and that him and Carvey were the only guys in the Bay Area doing impressions at that time.
Yeah, he and Dana are still very good friends, too.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like crazy because it's like, it's funny because, again, like, that was, more like 90s HBO, but it's like I watched, like Wayne's World and Coneheads movie and Airheads, like, all the time on HBO, and obviously I loved Saturday Night Live. I either like recorded it, as it aired, or they had like a lot of like best of VHSs that I would watch a lot. Dana and Phil Hartman's my favorite cast member of all time, but Dana's up there, and it's so funny, it's like Kevin and Dana are really good friends, and it's like the fact that, like, I'm now, like, Dana Carvey is, like, aware of who I am and, like, loves me. Like, he always, like, he, like, genuinely, because he also is, like, a huge, like, we geek out over Twilight Zone, like, every time we hang out. And it's, it's like, I can't believe that, like, Dana Carvey thinks, like, I'm cool, because I think he's, like, the coolest. So it's always, like, mind-blowing whenever you get to, like, James L. Brooks plays in Kevin's weekly poker game on occasion, and he loves my fandom for The Simpsons, and is like, and he allows me to come to the season premiere parties every year, which have been held at Springfield in Universal Studios for quite some time, and it's why am I invited? Like, I don't work on the show. I'm just a big fan. Like, I'm just a big fan, and he allows me to attend every year that they have it, and like, he's always sending, like, he'll like just show up and he'll be like, oh, I brought you all these hats. I thought you would like, gave me like all these like Simpson baseball caps, and like, he just always gives me like he's always I just love that he appreciates what a big fan I am and is like totally cool about it.
I don't think I'd be able to function around James L. Brooks, because not only am I a Simpsons fan, I'm also a huge Mary Tyler Moore fan.
Oh yeah, I mean, the man, is everything, like Mary Tyler Moore. I like all his. I like broadcast news. I loved As Good as It Gets. You know? I mean, man, it's huge sitcom staple. Obviously, like, brilliant filmmaker, and he's just. He's just like an old hippie. He's so sweet. He truly is just like an old hippie. He's wonderful.
Yeah. Oh God, that's so awesome. Yeah, my act was very blue and one-liner based, but occasionally I would do impressions. I actually auditioned for the short-lived reality show that Dana had back in 2015 or 16. Yeah, my audition reel is actually on YouTube still, and it's gotten a lot of views and stuff. I had John Biner on a few years ago, and I had Louise Duart on a few years ago. I showed them some impressions. Louise was very nice to me. She loved my Jerry Seinfeld impression. Biner, I mean, I showed him my Gilbert Gottfried impression, and, a lot of those older guys, are very competitive and insecure, so I didn't take it personal, really.
I do Seinfeld bits. I always remember like old Seinfeld bits all the time. Like it's like whenever I'm driving and like somebody has like a turning signal on that they forgot to shut off, I'm like, oh, that's what we call the eventual left.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna make the left eventually. Yeah. I'm always doing like, yeah, I'm definitely team Seinfeld over Friends. I know, like
I
like
never liked Friends. I'll be honest with
me
you.
neither. I never did either. Like I was, I think I watched the first season because I had a crush on Matthew Perry, but then and then because he's the funniest. He was the he was the funniest.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm definitely team Seinfeld. And I still watch it recently has been like my falling asleep to like comfort show because now that it's back on Netflix, I'll throw on a Seinfeld.
My dad is terrible at replying messages or returning calls. I said if he was a Seinfeld character, he'd be the non-responder.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also a huge Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm fan, and could not have been more satisfied with the series finale that aired a couple days ago. Oh, it's perfect.
Oh yeah, Mark Maron recorded a Q&A show with Larry David recently, and like Larry David told him not to record it for WTF. I was like, oh damn it! It would have been great to see these two guys, talking and making the audience laugh and everything.
So wait, what do you mean? So like you can't listen to it anyway?
It was they were doing something in New York. It was for
so it was live and they weren't allowed to record it? Is that true?
Yeah, something like
That's
that.
A bummer.
Yeah, I was like, God, I would love to hear those two banter. It would have been so perfect.
I did though listen to Larry did Sunday Sit Down with Willie Geist, who was also played himself on this season of Curb, and it's a great interview and it's free wherever you get your podcasts. Again, plugging something that I'm not getting paid to plug, but it was but I mean, I just love Larry. He's my spirit animal. Like he responds the way it was socially acceptable. Like that's in that interview with Willie Geist, he'd said like if one subject that he didn't get to bring up on Curb was the green text. He hates the green text. He hates whatever, like as an iPhone user, whatever you get the green text in response. And I was like, see, this is why I'm Larry. Because one time, like I was going to see I was like possibly like going to see a new therapist, and I was told to text her, like to get like to exchange information, and then the text came out green, and I was like, oh no, I can't see it. Like if my therapist is an Android user, I can't trust her with my mental health. Like I can't do that. Like and I was truly like, and I was concerned, and like I was telling my friends, and somebody's like, it might be like a Google, like it might just be like a Google text. Like it might not be like maybe it's like not her personal phone. And I was like, all right, okay, I'll go see her anyway. And then during our first session, I noticed that she had an iPhone like on her side table or whatever, and I was like, that's an iPhone, right? And she said yes. And I'm like, that's your personal phone? And she said yes. And I said, oh my god, thank God. I was like, whenever I was texting you, the texts were coming back green, and I thought you were an Android user, and I was like panicking, and she she thought that was so funny. And I was like, no, I truly was. And I feel like that was that was very Larry David of me, and to like know that like that is something that also bothers Larry. And I was like, see, he's my spirit animal. Like I am Larry. Like I am an old Jewish man at heart.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a lot of Jewish friends, even though I'm not Jewish myself. They've made me an honorary mensch, because I'm just so inclusive of them, and I know all the Hebrew words.
Like almost right. Like most of my friends are. Yeah, I have a lot of male Jewish friends for the most part, but yeah, a lot of Jewish friends. And like Kevin always says, like I'm the Jew in the family. Like I'm more Jewish than he is. But yeah.
So, after I got out of the hospital from my car crash, literally that weekend, I discovered Chat Show and I became hooked on it. And it was so sad to see it go in 2019. Who were some of your favorite guests that you guys had on?
Always the filmmakers, for the most part. Like I loved whenever we had like John Landis on and James L. Brooks, and we had both Ivan and Jason Reitman. I don't know why, the filmmakers always were the most interesting to me, for sure.
Yeah, I loved the one with Landis. I loved the one with Tom Hanks, Ed O'Neill, Curtis Armstrong, Ileana Douglas. I just had her on
Yeah, I
recently.
saw that when I was going through your, yeah.
What a
She's great.
sweetheart she is! Oh my
Hmm.
God, she is just a sweetheart. Yeah, even Marin's interview that you guys had with him, like in the first year of WTF, was good. Yeah, you guys had some great guests on there, and
Yeah, it's just sad. It never really, you know, it's very interesting, like what podcasts catch on and which ones don't. And like, it never really caught on. Like, we couldn't, we weren't making any money. Like, we couldn't monetize it
mhm.
like the way that these more popular ones can now, where they, you know, the money in podcasting is if you could do live shows, if you can
Yes,
tour and do live shows. And that we never, like, we did a couple, like, you know, probably like at SF Sketch Fest or like locally, and it never, like, we, you know, never sold out, like never was in a big venue. So yeah, I feel like it just kind of, you know, it was, I almost feel like it was ahead of its time because
hmm,
we started doing it like in, like, I think like 2009
right.
or 8. And so I feel like it was almost too soon. And like, you had to, like, we had explained to people like what a podcast was.
Yeah,
It was like, like, we really, like, honest to God. But yeah, so I feel like it just kind of, like, you know, it I feel like we all started to grow to, like, resent it almost, because it was like a chore that, like, never took off. Like, we never made any money. So it
yeah.
was like, you know, we were just doing it for ourselves at that point. So yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
no, it was fun while it lasted.
yeah, it was great. You know, you guys looked like you had a lot of fun with it. And Kevin always said something on the show that I always took to heart, and I still do. He always said, "If you're not creating, you're waiting," and
Yes.
that's so true. You know, I've done 2,073 interviews in 7 years so far, and I've gone the extra mile for my passion, and I'm just so friggin' lucky.
Yeah, and congratulations on, you know, you keep mentioning, like, you know, I had this guest talk for the first time in 40 years, or I had, you know, 10 people involved in my favorite movie. I mean, that's wonderful that, you know, you took something that you're so passionate about and you created for it. And then, you know, even if it's only like a couple thousand people listening, who cares? Like,
Ex-
it's like, you know, congratulations.
exactly, exactly. Thank you. Yes. Do you still do costume designing?
Costume design, I mean, like, I don't really do much costume designing ever. I did sketch comedy for a while, and like
Uh-huh.
I did, like I loved making, like, props and costumes was like one of my favorite aspects of it. And
Yeah.
I loved helping out, like, fellow castmates. I was like, it's like, I'm like, if you need, I was like, if you need help with props and costumes, I got you, I got it. But no, other than, like, you know, putting together something for, like, Halloween, like, I'm not one of those.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I don't like Disney. I don't Disney bound. Like, I
Yeah.
don't go. Like, I know. Like, I'm an admitted Disney adult, but it's like, you know, and no judgment on anybody else who wants to do whatever they want to do in the parks, because I'm a Disney adult. I'm a weirdo like the rest of us. But it's like, I don't. Yeah, like, I'm not into, like, putting together, like, a bound or a costume and, like, going to the parks or going to, like, a convention or anything. My thing more so was like, what kind of, like, cute outfit could I put together that just, like, has, like, Disney accessories? Like, you know, I feel like that's, like, my thing. It's like, oh, find, like, a cool vintage, like, Disney T-shirt or hat or jewelry or something, and then, like, and wear, like, quote unquote, like, regular clothes, and, like, you know, see how I can, like, create a look from that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really costume, like, outside of, like, Halloween, really.
Yeah, I have not dressed up for Halloween since 2015 because it's a pain in the ass and it's so expensive. It's just like,
It is
once you get to a
yeah.
certain age, it's like, why do it anymore, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I only do it now because we've become friends with the actor David Desmalchian, who is
Uh-huh.
just who's now the lead in Late Night with the Devil, which is a small, like, indie horror film that's been doing very well.
Right.
And congratulations to him, because he's the sweetest man. He loves horror and loves Halloween, and he throws an awesome Halloween party every year that we've been invited to for the past, like, handful of years, and it is mandatory that you dress up, and you cannot half-ass. Like, it's like, if you half-ass it, you will not be invited back. Like, Yeah, I feel like that's the main reason why like I like to put together a Halloween costume every year. But
Yeah, because it said on IMDb you designed costumes for super scary horror theater.
oh, that was that was like a streaming thing that I
Yeah.
was helping some friends out with decades, like over a decade ago. Yeah. I didn't even know I had an IMDb. Look at that. I didn't even know I had an IMDb.
Oh yeah, it had a screenshot picture of you on Chat Show on there and everything.
Oh my God. Oh, I don't even want to look. I don't even want to look. I'm not even aware of like my online presence.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, because I love the old, black and white horror movies and stuff. So I was like, oh, she was involved with a horror hosting show. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Again, like props and costumes. Like whenever they needed. Yeah. It was like actually, unfortunately, it's like people that I'm no longer friends with. But it's
Sadly.
like at the time, some friends of mine were just trying to do. It was basically like Elvira, Mistress of the Dark,
Yeah.
rip off, honestly. And it was like they would show like old B horror movies, and like they would riff on them or whatever. But yeah, that's what that was.
Yeah, I'm friends with a lot of the newer horror hosts and stuff, and they stay really true to their influence of Elvira and whoever out there that did it, which I think is so cool because now it's become like an art form. Because back in the day, it was just a network ploy to get ratings, but now anybody can be a horror host, for anything.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to the point where like Simpsons has their own Boobarella.
Yeah,
their Elvira's Boobarella.
Yeah, oh my God, it's so funny. I forgot to ask you, did you come up with a lot of Kevin's games on Chat Show?
Oh yeah, I wrote them all. That was like that was one of the things I did. Yeah, I came up with like all the little
Larry
bits.
King game like and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
the Tweet 5 or whatever.
Oh, Tweet 5, yeah. I came up with my own game, and if it wasn't for Chat Show, I probably wouldn't have thought of it. And we are about to play the Secret Silly Game. This is a series of silly slumber party questions. It's no win or lose. It's just pure fun. And how the game works, JB, is I ask you the question, you answer it, and then you ask me that exact same question, and I answer it. And feel free to comment on the answers, because they might be funny.
All right. I shall do my best.
Okay, imagine we're in pajamas and we got a flashlight.
Okay.
JB, are you ticklish?
Yes. And I think it's torture, it's a form of torture.
It can be, yeah.
Yes. So are you ticklish?
Yes, and if you tickled me without warning, I might hit you in the groin.
But then you might win, you might win an Oscar, football to the groin.
Yeah. Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
As I check, it is a deep innie.
Okay.
Tommy, is your belly button an innie or outie?
It is also a deep innie.
Yeah.
What color are your toenails painted?
My toenails are currently not painted because it's winter and I don't wear open-toed shoes.
It's spring now.
It's funny because it's just starting to get warm, and I went and got my nails done a couple of days ago, and I was like, is it time? Should I get my toenails done? And then I took a pass. But so nothing. What color are your toenails painted? I'm
actually going to do mine this weekend. Right now they're au naturel, but last time they were painted, they were gold with sparkles for New Year's Eve.
Lovely. I love a theme.
I like to do elaborate, I like to go I like to go festive. What would you say is your best personality trait?
Oh my goodness. I hate talking about myself, so I don't and I feel like I'm very humble, so I don't know why, I think maybe I feel like I always want to include everyone. I feel like it's probably my best. I'm a good connector of people, and I always want everyone to feel included. And I go out of my way to make sure that happens. So I would say that. I'm very inclusive, and I always want, if I was just talking to Kevin about this the other day. I would always notice the one kid in class that was a little awkward, and no one would talk to them or possibly make fun of them, and I would and not necessarily befriend them, but I would be like, oh, those doodles on your notebook are cool. Like, I like Animaniacs too, or whatever. Like, I'd always go like out of my way to like just make people feel included.
You're an empath.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sure. Is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I always just like because. Pittsburgh, and being a huge fan of Mr. Rogers, I just always wanted to I don't know, I always just want people to I always want to be kind, and everybody should be kind to each other, and I always want people to feel included.
Aw.
So tell me, what's your greatest personality trait?
I have empathy, and I have no filter.
Yeah. I also have no filter. I feel like that's why I also have no, I feel like, again, why Larry's my spirit animal. I have no filter. I'm a terrible liar. Yeah. I cannot lie.
Me too.
I'm a terrible liar. And, but I feel like having no filter, people either love you for it or you hate you. Teachers hated me when I was growing up because I had no filter. And I would just talk like they saw it as talking back, and I'm like, I just had no filter.
I tell people to listen to my show during the month of May. I do sex positivity episodes, and we go dirty. I'll tell you. I mean, if you want
I'm glad I got in April.
Yeah, if you want to hear me with no filter, check those out. And then my favorite question: is there a stinky smell that just makes you gag?
Stinky smell. That also makes me kind of think of there's odd smells that I love.
Mm-hmm.
I love the smell of gasoline and exhaust, so I mean, this is the opposite answer of the question, but a smell that makes me, oh, this is going to sound so lame, because this is so lame. I hate the smell of weed. I do. I hate that skunky weed smell. I don't like it.
Yeah, I get it.
I know. I'm gonna sound like a lame-o, but and it's not even just because I'm sober. I wasn't even a big weed smoker. Even when I did use, but I'm I just I hate especially in California. You're just you'll just be walking by and it's poof, cloud of skunky weed in your face, and it's So I know it's a lame answer, but that's my answer. What's your least favorite smell?
Either farts or feet.
I mean, farts aren't great.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't stand the smell of weed either, right? But at least when I know it's there, then I can smoke it. But I just don't like the smell of it.
Yeah. It's again, I'm not not judging people. It was never my thing. As I said, I'm sober now, but it was I was just a pure drunk. I was a big drinker. It was never really my thing. But I hate I don't know. It's invasive almost. I feel it's almost invasive. The same way, I don't like cigarette smoke either.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, you know what? Throw that in there too. I recently had an eBay purchase that obviously came from a smoking home, and I'm it's so that throw that in there. Any kind of smell, weed and nicotine smells. Throw it in.
How long have you been sober for?
I just celebrated 7 years on March 26th.
9 years for me.
Oh, congratulations!
Yep, I'll be celebrating 10 next January.
But you said you smoke weed.
Oh, I don't count that. I'm talking about alcohol.
Okay, so you're not okay. So you're sober from alcohol. Sure.
Yeah, and I've taken.
Yeah, I do nothing.
I've cut way back on weed because my lungs were compromised in my car crash. So I got to be very careful with that. I can't smoke super strong stuff anymore.
Yeah, but there's 100 other ways to ingest it.
Yes. The edibles. Yeah. Oh, God. I'm not good on edibles. I did an edible once. My friend, she lived to regret it. We were going to a dinner with a friend of ours and a possible suitor for her friend. And she made me eat a marijuana cookie. And next thing you know, I'm trying to motorboat her while she's driving and being stupid.
I love how she made you.
She literally did. She was just eat this. I'm like, what is it? It's a cookie. I'm like, yeah, but what is it? And she's like, just eat it. And I did. Next thing I know, I'm starting to feel woozy, and she's laughing all evil. It's like a Simpsons episode. She's laughing evil.
Very nice.
Jamie, this has been such a dream. Thank you so much for coming on today. You are just so awesome.
Aw, please. I'm okay.
No, you are awesome, and yes, I'm so glad we're following each other on Instagram now,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope you have a great rest of your day and be safe out there, and yes, stay sober because it feels great, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's nice to be present. It's super, like, that's my favorite thing, is that, like, oh, I'm actually present for things and, can remember them the next day. It is wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And congratulations to yourself as well.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
All right, thanks.
Bye bye. Well, there you have it. Jaime Fox, ain't she a sweetheart? Oh my god, what a great lady. Oh my god, total pop culture nerd extraordinaire. I loved her, and she is such an awesome person. Wow, the fact that she gets to go to the poker nights and hang out with James L. Brooks, I am envious. That is so awesome. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes!